for you? This current series is really focusing on this moment, this historical moment, and how we have come through a year of sort of what does it mean to teach and live and be humans together in a pandemic. And we're now, we see light at the end of the tunnel, and in some ways there's hope, and then in other ways things are still really scary. So I wonder if you could speak a little more about those abstract drivers and the mission, but also how have those taken shape differently or maybe more vividly in this current historical moment?
Yeah, certainly. And to start with that mission and really what drives WLSA as a foundation. Fundamentally, we believe that schools are the powerhouses of social and global mobility, and that children of all income levels, all backgrounds should be given the same opportunities to learn, to travel, and develop as global citizens. So, we don't believe that's the current reality. Fundamentally, that's why we exist as an organisation. And we actually believe that rather than the sort of current paradigm of globalisation changing that situation, it's actually increasing the gap. And it's increasing the gap between the haves and the have-nots. Our last strategy meeting, we were all in agreement, really. The pandemic has exaggerated that even more. So as I said before in response to Toby's question, our mission is to sort of lead change in education. And we do this by synthesizing global excellence. And that allows us to create globally accessible learning experiences for educators and students that no single school on its own could provide. So these experiences are unique, they are innovative, they are transformative because they're intercultural, and they ensure that learners develop the lens to see the world through the eyes of others. Not only do they develop the sense of purpose greater than themselves, but then they also develop the human skills to respectfully and meaningfully work with others towards appropriate global change. And that last bit I think is particularly important. As I said, the current paradigm of globalization is not working. It does not respect the fact that there are other cultural ideals and perspectives that are not the same as those that had the power, certainly post-Second World War, the power to form the supranational institutions that now drive global activity. And so, when students around the world call for change, they don't always understand the organizational structures that are in place around the world. You need to work with those organizational structures, but that doesn't mean those organizational structures are fixed. They may take more time, more effort, involve more people to change them, but our students will be the people who have to make the decisions as to what they want to keep and what they want to change. And we want them to be very mindful and aware of that. So that's a sort of important thing. Does it matter following pandemic? Has the pandemic changed everything for us? Well, it matters more than ever. And that's the impact the pandemic's had. Not only because of the pandemic itself. I think the pandemic has played a really helpful role, if I may say so, kind of like a little bit selfishly. Obviously it's had incredibly negative impacts on huge numbers of people and things around the world. But one thing the pandemic has done is it has highlighted enduring challenges, sort of highlight the challenges that drive this need for change. But what it's done positively is it's accelerated some of the key tools for change. And therefore, I think this is actually now a mission we have a responsibility to move quickly on. The conditions are right. We can't just stay in sort of preparation and future planning mode. The conditions are right. It's not just about the pandemic. Headlines around the world right now are dominated by situations, events, themes that demonstrate that the human skills we really value as educators are just not driving human interactions. This is WLSA's 10th year. It's its 10th anniversary. There'll be the time for good celebrations on that, pandemic allowing, during the course of the year. So, but as well as sort of celebrating what we've achieved in the last 10 years, we're very aware that setting up the next 10 years requires us to listen to actually what is a really unique network. It's a network of associate schools who don't just represent themselves, but actually represent partnerships, communities, pretty extensive networks in their own regions. It's a network that has a lot of university involvement. You mentioned sort of tertiary education, very, very important, giving us a completely different perspective on education than the associates themselves. But then we also have a network of global business leaders who again are committed to our mission and support that. And so by listening to all those different areas, we can really ensure that we can have the transformative impact we aspire to and to lead change in these enduring challenges.